Well, I kid you not, we'll have a live Band-Aid shortly. As for Saturday's regular edition of Yesterday's Heroes, the recollections of the Manchester City manager, Brian Horton.
And Horton on the break. Horton for the touch. What a great goal by Brian Horton.
You never get a job when things are fine, do you? You get jobs in football when somebody's either been sacked or the situation's not very good, so it's nothing new. Couldn't turn it down, could we?
Yesterday's Heroes, which precedes Sport Action, which maps out, looks like this. All that, plenty of football as well throughout the afternoon, and goals extra at 5 o'clock. Now, the most exhilarating finale to last season in the Premiership wasn't Manchester United winning the Championship, but Oldham, who launched a late survival bid and succeeded, winning successively at Aston Villa, at home to Liverpool and Southampton. It was escapology at its very finest. But unfortunately, things look as if they could be very similar this season. That's the current state of play at the bottom. Swindon looks sure to go, and Oldham will certainly join them if their home form doesn't improve. They haven't won a Premiership game at Boundary Park all season, but at least there is room for improvement, starting perhaps with Norwich today. Rob Palmer joined Richard Jobson for brunch this morning.
Well, it's a mixture of mayhem and music in the Jobson household a Saturday morning before a game. He's very good. He doesn't get this from his dad, does he?
No, I don't think so. More from his mother, I think so.
Do you play any musical instruments?
No, not at all. No, I stick to the football. I just enjoy listening to these two.
It's a nice, soothing start to the day, though, isn't it? Not from Boundary Park.
Yeah, not at 7:30 in the morning.
It's not an easy life being an Oldham athletic defender, is it?
That's right, yeah. We got a little bit of a stick last year because of the number of goals we let in. But it was our scoring rate that saved us last year. You know, we scored quite a number of goals. We've tightened up a little bit this year, but the goals have dried up. You know, I think we've only scored 10 or 11 goals this season, so we're going to have to start scoring goals if we're going to get out of the bottom three.
Well, one of the big stories this week has been the clash between Fashanu and Gary Mabbott, and I think, if I remember rightly, earlier in the season, I think you had a head-to-head with him as well, didn't you?
In September time, I think, and it was about the first 10 minutes of the game. We went up for the ball and it was just a completely accidental clash of heads. We both went down. I think I came off slightly worse. I think I was knocked unconscious briefly, but after a few minutes treatment, you know, I finally came round and managed to complete the game. But it's always going to be a battle against players like John Fashion. You know, it's all part of the game and you just get on with it.
Well, the other headline story in the newspapers this morning is about Brian Clough putting himself in the frame from England. Boss makes a change for somebody to be interested, doesn't it?
That's right. There's so many people, you know, claiming they're not interested in the job at all. So it makes a change, as you say, for someone to come forward and say they'd be interested in doing it. I think Bobby Gould has gone on record the last couple of days saying he'd be interested in it as well. So like you say, it does make a change.
You know all about the change in a person when you take on the job, because of course Graham Taylor is the man that discovered you, wasn't he, when you were a non-league player?
That's right. About 11 years ago I was playing for Burton Albion, and Graham Taylor, who was at Watford at the time, came in, paid about £15,000 for me. Yeah, so he gave me, you know, my big chance in football.
One of the outsiders is the man that's managing your opponents today, Mike Walker, Norwich City. They've done very well, haven't they? They're the team of the moment.
That's right. Obviously going to be a little disappointed after what happened on Wednesday against Inter Milan. You know, we didn't sing the game because we were actually playing that night, but by all accounts, we were a little bit unlucky. We just hope they have a bit of a hangover today, you know, because we desperately need to win a game. We haven't won at home all season, so you know we could do with the 3 points today.
With Oldham struggling against relegation, haven't been that easy. But do you bring that home with you? Does it affect your home life?
Not really with the 3 kids. You know, obviously, if you're having a bit of a bad time, you know, with the football, you know, they sort of give you a bit of a boost. But then again, it can work the other way around. If you come home and you've had a good result, or you've personally had a good game, they'll soon bring you back down to earth. You know, so the kids are a great leveller, you know, and it takes your mind off the football. You know, but once you walk out the front door and, you know, make your way to the football ground, obviously you try and concentrate on the game.
You've not thought about taking up the music like your son to get away from the pressures of...
Well, maybe a little time in the future. you know, but not at the moment. I'll just leave it to my wife and the little boy at the moment. I enjoy listening to them, actually.
You're making me feel all Christmassy.
Yes, you'll have to join the Preston band, who we'll be hearing from pretty shortly. Oldham Norwich this afternoon. There'll be a gate of similar proportions at Deepdale. One of the best games in Division 3 there this afternoon. The leaders Preston against the league's new boys Wycombe Wanderers. 7 points the difference between the two. In terms of tradition, though, they're light years apart. Wycombe's recent rise to prominence has been masterminded by Martin O'Neill, who had a brief spell with Manchester City, and he spoke with Ali Mann this morning about Preston.
They're a good side. They're top of the league. They're quite a few points clear at this minute. Ellis is scoring a lot of goals, and they seem to, despite the fact that people talk about them being Route 1, if it's within the rules, you know, you've got to abide by that. You just got to get on with it and try and stay with them for about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, whatever it may be. But I think we are capable. We've got a fair resilience ourselves in the football club, and I'm hoping that we can stay with them.
How difficult has it been to adjust to full-time football after being in June Vauxhall Conference?
It's nice to think that we're, as I said, lying fifth in the league as we talked this morning, but it's been difficult. The games have been hard. The lads, well, almost 98% of the lads have gone from part-time to full-time. It's been difficult for them, you know, and we have found that the last 20 minutes in matches has taken its toll, but we're getting used to it and we're doing okay.
What was it about the club that made you stay with them when things like Nottingham Forest were perhaps there for you?
God, you know, sometimes in some more sane moments I ask myself exactly the same question. But we were in a bit of turmoil at the end of the season. The players were going from part-time to full-time, and some new managers, the chairman said, might have come in, might not have fancied a load of the players, so he asked me to stay on for the extra year or so. And as I keep quoting to him, if I'm managing Maidenhead United, which is a little non-league side down the road, if I'm managing them in 2 years' time, I've made a hell of a mistake. But sure, such is life.
Well, he's got some very unusual methods, Martin O'Neill, and one of them is letting his players have a real greasy breakfast in the morning before a game, but quite clearly works. Right, another musical interlude. Of course, Wycombe at Preston this afternoon, and we heard from the band earlier on. Ali, what's it all about? They really don't play during the game, surely, do they?
Oh, they certainly do. They certainly do. And to prove it, they're all setting up behind us here. And with me is the band leader, Jonathan Richardson. Well, tell me all about it. What are you called, first of all?
Sounds of San Siro.
And presumably you've got a bit of an Italian theme here.
That's right, yeah, they're South American as well.
Where on earth did you begin all this? Where did it all start?
Well, last season we had numerous theme days, one of which was at Exeter, and we had a South American theme day there. About 500 went down with flags, drums, hearts, shirts, etc. And it proved a great success. We won as well that day.
So what kind of tunes do you play? Are they your own creations or?
Some traditional tunes, some original. We've adopted one from Egypt, from Italia 90, one from Argentina 78 as well. The Iranians took a few drums there.
Okay, well, what are you going to play for us now?
It's the Tony Ellis anthem.
The Tony Ellis anthem.
Yeah.
Okay, well, while you're setting up, just to, if you want to go and join your colleagues there, a little bit of, shall we say, different programme notes from manager John Beck. He says, the art of thinking is the greatest art of all, for as man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The thinker knows he is today where his thoughts have taken him, and by the quality of the thoughts that he thinks. Well, certainly not mundane notes in the programme from John Beck, certainly not mundane at Deepdale. Take it away, boys.
Boys and girls of the Preston band. Right, so let's move on now to our performance of the week. Performance of the week, Rochdale centre-half Alan Reeves. An altogether dogged, effective and resolute display against Bury. A style which is frustrating in the extreme when you're trying to get the better of it. He gets a foot in here, a foot in there. The number of times Bury's front runners tried to twist and turn in his jurisdiction and ended up getting absolutely nowhere was remarkable. There's nothing flashy about Alan's style, but he looks comfortable in possession. Not quite to the same degree as his boyhood hero Alan Hansen, but who does in the modern game. Physically he's similar to Hansen, Certainly not a rugged centre-half in the Neil Ruddock mould, but he's a great competitor and his timing in the air compensates for his lack of muscle. Alan's a Liverpool fanatic who began his career with non-league Heswell on the Wirral, a team which also included his brother David at the time, the former Bolton player you remember, current teammate Steve Whitehall and Nottingham Forest's Ian Wone. A practical performer and a practical joker as well. He says he enjoys ballroom dancing. Basically, he takes the mickey. Touche, Alan. Rochdale's Player of the Year for the past 2 seasons. Goal of the week, Blackpool's Phil Horner against Huddersfield. Mitch Cook taking full advantage down the left. Andy Gowk's role was basically to get out of the way as Horner arrived with only one intention. Gowk did well actually. His basic instinct was to have a second touch, but there wasn't any point. Phil Horner, goal of the week. Save of the week, Bury's Lee Bracey, and almost a case of what happened next. He barely got a whiff of Paul Butler's free kick, but how about this for a recovery? Dave Lancaster must have thought he'd scored. A split second earlier, Bracey was prostrate. Really was a super save, wasn't it? Well, our competition game this afternoon is the one at Main Road, Manchester City against Sheffield Wednesday, 0839 44 45 45. That's the number. Phone in and predict the score. You can make as many attempts as you like between now and 4 o'clock. £200 the first prize. As always, there'll be 5 runners-up prizes as well. I'll tell you about those a little later on this afternoon. Now, after the break, City's manager Brian Horton talks about his career and recalls one of the most exciting games of 1982, the 4-4 draw between Luton and Stoke. Join us again.
Donaghy. Walsh again. Well, how about that for a goal?
With vampires, it's garlic. With us mere mortals, it's the video recorder. Now there's an amazing cure for videophobia. Amstrad's new user-friendly video with AutoSet. Plug in the aerial, turn on the power, and it automatically tunes itself to the main channels, as well as setting the clock and calendar. And timed recordings are easier too with built-in Video Plus. Difficult, it's not.
Hi, Tony Blackburn here. Welcome to
The new UF40 user-friendly video with AutoSet means you'll never have to set the clock or channels ever again. £329.99, only from Amstrad.
It's been 3 days on the Lake Malawi ferry bound for Monkey Bay and the mystic charms of Lilongwe. Conditions are hardly what you or I are used to. Tuesday on the dot. Don't you present a programme on daytime television? Sadly, the only thing around here with 4 stars was the petrol. Think this'll do nicely? Unfortunately, nobody told me that Malawi has the biggest Carlsberg brewery in Africa. The words Coles and Newcastle immediately sprang to mind.
Carlsberg, probably the best lager in the world.
You can now fly Cathay Pacific to Hong Kong, direct from Manchester, every day. With an all-Rolls-Royce powered fleet and flight attendants from 10 Asian lands, we stop at nothing to help you arrive in better shape. Cathay Pacific, Manchester to Hong Kong, daily.
Our chimney's so small, Father Christmas can't get in. So I have to choose the presents instead of him. A tape of Guns N' Roses for my brother's van. And for my sister, something scary. She's a horror story fan. For Mum, a video that'll help her keep trim. And my cousin plays computer games, so we know what to get him. Dad needs a golf book, 'cause his swing's got a slice. Which just leaves me. Some more crayons would be nice.
Quietly classic. quite cool.
Quaffable colour.
Quality control.
Quintessential clarity.
Rather good.
Rather good.
Yeah. Quam clarum. Latin.
Quite. Cheers.
QC. Surely it stands for quality counts.
Welcome back to just about the most musical kick-off that I can ever remember. Yesterday's Heroes right now with Brian Horton.
Brian who they mused, but in Brighton they know about Horton. And in Luton too, they'll tell you about a sharp football in Brian. To the fans of those clubs at least, he needs no introduction. A player of pedigree, but not always a headline hogger. The life of Brian's not exactly a mystery, and it wasn't Brian who back in the 70s and 80s. In his playing days, he was always a leader on the field. Horton with the tops! What a great goal by Brian Horton!
You never get a job when things are fine, do you? You get jobs in football when somebody's either been sacked or the situation's not very good, so it's nothing new. Couldn't turn it down, could we? I mean, we know we've got the Brian who and, you know, what have they done and all that thing, but people do have to start down the bottom and get big jobs.
Brian knows about footballing lows. Gordon Lee took him to Port Vale when Walsall said he was too small. And then at Brighton, Alan Mullery lent him his expertise as captain of the South Coast club. It was the high-flying Seagulls with internationals such as Steve Foster and Mark Lawrenson. Horton fittingly scored the goal which took Brighton into the First Division for the first time.
Oh, it's a beautiful goal! Magnificently headed by Horton. The whistle has gone and Brighton have made it. They are in the First Division.
We had to go and win at Newcastle. You know, and having failed the season before on the last Saturday, I mean, what wasn't our doing because we'd won the game, to go up there we took thousands of people. And we were 3-0 up in about 20-25 minutes. And I'd scored the first goal with a header, which was a bit unusual. I didn't get many in my head. That was my greatest high, to be perfectly truthful.
A young David Pleat saw Horton as the man to lead Luton back into the big time. At Kenilworth Road, he teamed up for the first time with his assistant today, David Moss.
And it's with Moss trying the chip.
The two engineered an elevation in status for Luton. 1982 Second Division champions. Just like Brighton, Luton were toasting their inspirational skipper. They were the talk of the town.
5 years it's taken to get back. It isn't bad.
And do you think they'll hold it now?
Well, I am. But I mean, apart from that...
The footballing philosophy, which was bred in Bedfordshire, still stays with Brian today.
And the way we played, which is that adventurous, I mean, we scored goals for fun. We did give a lot of goals away, but that's the way he wanted us to play. He would never be negative. He always wanted us to play a good open football. We played 4-3-3. We never changed after that, after the initial start of the season. And as I say, we won it by about 18 points. We were up with about 7 or 8 weeks to go. You know, it's fantastic.
So Luton took their attacking entertainers up a notch. A young Paul Walsh was partnered by Steen, Brian Steen, brother of Mark. Today's opponents Stoke had their characters as well. George Berry at the back. And Mark Chamberlain was bursting onto the scene. Luton-Stoke in 1982 was a top-notch First Division fixture. It was a game few who witnessed it will forget.
Wire them with the corner. Chamberlain! And it's there, it's gone in. George Berry has scored. A scramble in the area, and George Berry has done it again. Blowing kisses to the crowd. He scored on the opening day of the season here. Now he's put Stoke in front. There's the corner floated over. First by Chamberlain. Judge just managing to keep the ball out. It comes off the bar, in fact. And there's George Berry to not hit the simplest of goals. Away by Berry. To Maguire. Donaghy. Walsh again. Well, how about that for a goal? Well, it really didn't seem on, but Paul Walsh strikes the ball so beautifully. He must have been 20-25 yards out. He just looked up, and well, that is some shooting. We're just making sure that the ball is in the right position. The corner then from Maguire. Up goes O'Callaghan. Hit it away. Chamberlain. Immediately confronted by two defenders. Can he find a way through? Berry! Quite remarkable. George Berry has done it again. Well, he didn't score all that many goals for Wolves to George Berry, but that's his third now for Stoke City. Chamberlain again, the provider. Here he is, faced by two defenders. There didn't seem to be a way through, but he found one. He turned from 1 foot over them with his right, and up goes Berry. The goalkeeper perhaps rather misjudging the cross. Certainly appreciated by the supporters here at Stoke, who've enjoyed his performances so far. Tackled by Bracewell. It falls for Horton. Took a deflection, but only just wide in the end. Shot driven in by Brian Horton. Certainly hit a Stoke defender on the way. Horton with plenty of time to size up the opportunity. They're just wide of the far post. Ricky Hill to Turner. Steen. Watson breaks it up. Here's Chamberlain again. O'Callaghan is in there. Here he is. McElroy. Well, Sammy McElroy hasn't scored yet this season. He's taken a bit of teasing from his teammates because he hasn't. He really should have put his name on the score sheet there. There's the cross again from Chamberlain. O'Callaghan's header, and McElroy, a perfect view of the goal, and strikes it wide. Watson with Steen. Steen backing into Dave Watson. Walsh is back through. Fox in trouble. Did he handle it? Walsh. And the referee has given the free kick. The Luton players can't believe it, and they're furious. Certainly Peter Fox handled the ball outside the area, and the referee had already blown to the free kick. And just look at the annoyance on the faces of the Luton players. Walsh made the most of the confusion, tucked the ball away comfortably. The referee had already blown to the free kick. To the chagrin, and in fact he's been sent off.
If he allows the goal, he doesn't have to send him off. I mean, Walsh has gone round him, picked himself up because he had great balance, Walsh. He's ridden the tackle and he's got up and he's rolled it in the empty net, and the referee's disallowed it and sent the keeper off. I mean, I don't know if Foxy thought we were trying to get him sent off or what, but we were trying to say give the goal and leave the keeper on.
Paul Bracewell is the man who's taking over in goal. Well, what drama we've had here. Horton and Moss are there again. Hill at the far post. The five-man wall. Moss curls it in. A roar from the crowd. Paul Bracewell didn't have too many problems with that one. Thomas to O'Callaghan. Here comes Mickey Thomas again. Threading a way through. Finds Parkin. Still Parkin. And the shot was blocked. A good run by Parkin. Hill. Free kick now for Luton. This is David Moss. Steen up two. In for Steen. Glorious finishing by Brian Steen. His 7th goal of the season. And showing us there why so many people feel he's on the verge of an England cap. So a change of mind by Richie Barker, the Stoke manager, at half-time. Derek Parkin has now taken over in goal, and Paul Bracewell has resumed his place in midfield. There he is again. This is strength, of course, in the air. Dave Watson. So it is for this man, O'Callaghan, and finds Chamberlain. Look at the speed here. Chance. It's gone in. It was Bracewell who got the final header in. And although the defender tried to clear the ball off the line, I think it was Stevens, it went in. There's Hill again to Steen. Good turn from Hill. Finds Steen again. Still Steen. Well, would you credit it? What a match this is turning out to be. That's 2 now for Brian Steen. Just 12 minutes into the second half. Brian Steed has made it 3-3. Well, Richie Barker was saying before the game, he said, you know, this could end up 6-5. I think he could be right. It's 3-3, and there's Brian Steed tucking it away. There's danger whenever Brian Steed gets the ball. That's the thing about this match, there's so many potential goal scorers on the field. Here's another one, Ricky Hill to Horton. Oh, there could be another one here. Well, what a strange goal that one was.
He couldn't miss from my ball, really, could he? I mean, it's such a... No, to be fair, I don't know what he was doing up there, maybe because we were losing, but he had a great engine, Mal, and he'd suddenly break. I think if they'd had the original keeper, and I don't think... I mean, Derek Parkin's come in no man's lands, and he's headed it in from about 25 yards just with a looping header.
Berry. Managed by Antich, most in trouble. Hampton knocking it down. This is O'Callaghan. Superbly struck goal by Brendan O'Callaghan. And it's 4-4. I've seen some remarkable league games over the years, but this one, you know, going to take some beating. 8 goals. And there's another one struck in by Brendan O'Callaghan. Well, now Brian Steed is going on for Luton. Antich is joining him. Still Steed. Surely a penalty. It has to be. Brought down. No doubt at all that Brian Steed was tumbled there, I think, by McCautry. The substitute. There's Steed, clearly brought down as he runs into the area. David Moss, who scored in each of the last 4 matches, including a penalty. A chance to add to that tally. Certainly one of the best strikers of a ball from a penalty. Only about a minute of the match remaining. So the drama going right to the last kick. Moss then against Parkin. Hits the post and cleared away. Well, I find it hard to believe all this, you know. Absolutely incredible.
It was the last kick of the game, practically. And Brian Stein, had he taken it, Brian would have been on a hat-trick. But he got cramp, and I thought, well, I'm not letting him have a hat-trick, so I'll take it. I sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, miscalculated by 3 inches, and it hit the post. The fact that the goalkeeper at the time was Derek Parkin, who was normally a full-back, has got nothing to do with it.
As a manager, Brian tasted early success, promotion in his first season at fashionable Hull City. Then it was on to Oxford, ruled by the Maxwells. When his friend Mark Lawrenson resigned because of Robert Maxwell's meddling in matters, Brian took over and brought in his old mate Mossy. There they serve their apprenticeship, but it's the big time now. Nothing alters their way of thinking. Good times, bad times, the game of football is at the root of their lives.
We've had a game this morning, and if you can't enjoy doing what you love, then you shouldn't be in it, should you, really?
Did you win?
My side won this morning,
Yeah.
5-4. Another one, 5-4.
He didn't miss the penalty, did he?
No, he had a couple of long-range shots that were torrid.
We played for 2.5 hours until their team won.